15 million members, empowered to learn, to grow, to harvest, to lead, to dream. Equity. Karibu member.
Good evening and welcome to Sunday Express. We have a 1 hour loaded of news and of course our interview later on Family Sunday. We'll be talking about nutrition and particularly for babies, and we talk about breastfeeding because the Ministry of Health has launched the breastfeeding week. That's just about 4 days ago. We have that conversation lined up for you. So for the next 1 hour, let me inform you about what is happening across the country and further afield. But first things first, the highlights. IEBC gazettes names of candidates to participate in the August 2022 elections. Sonko missing in action. Heightened campaigns. Raila woos voters in Kericho as Ruto pitches camp in Turkana. And necessity is the mother of invention. We tell you of a prepaid electricity meter for the visually impaired. This in our Sunday feature. Raila Odinga is a sign language interpreter. My name is John Jacob Kioria. Welcome to the broadcast. And we begin tonight's broadcast to the news that the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has gazetted names of candidates who will vie for various positions in the August 9th, 2022 general election. Conspicuously missing from the list is Mike Sonko of the Wiper Party, who is seeking the Mombasa gubernatorial position. The name of embattled Nairobi gubernatorial hopeful Johnson Sakaja is in the list.
The Gazette notice, which is dated 1st of July 2022, has listed 4 presidential candidates and their running mates. The 4 are Raila Odinga of Azimio la Umoja, George Luchiri Wajakoya of Roots Party, Kenya Kwanza's William Ruto, and Wahiga Mwaure of Agano Party. However, Mike Sonko's name is missing in the list of the gubernatorial candidates for Mombasa County. Sonko had challenged the verdict given by the IEBC Disputes and Resolution Committee to bar him from vying for governor in Mombasa, even as he asked the High Court Mombasa to restrain the electoral agency from gazetting gubernatorial candidates and printing ballot papers. Also missing from the list is Karungo Dhangwa, who had been picked as the UDA candidate in Kiambu senatorial race. IEBC had barred him from contesting on grounds of impeachment over graft allegations. However, the UDA candidate for the gubernatorial seat in Nairobi, Johnson Sakaja, is in the list of cleared candidates. The Gazette notice comes against the backdrop of a backlash over the move to print ballot papers before the gazettement of candidates. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission on Saturday warned that it might be forced to postpone elections in 31 areas affected by pending nomination disputes in the High Court. Nancy Okware, Sunday Express.
And still on the IEBC, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has pledged to work closely with the media to ensure free flow of information before, during and after the election. While acknowledging the critical role played by the media, IEBC Chairperson Wafula Chebukati, however, called on the media to ensure they put the interests of the country first while filing reports during the election period. Chebukati was speaking at a pre-conference meeting that brought together media practitioners and pollsters to discuss the role of the two in public agenda betting ahead of the August 9 poll.
With 29 days to the August polls, the electoral body is keen to ensure there is clear communication with regards to the upcoming general election. While engaging the media, which is the society's watchdog, IEBC Chair Wafula Chebukati says elections are critical in any democracy, Kenya not excluded.
Let us be responsible. We take seriously, Kenyans take seriously what you write. And as a commission, we are ready to share the truth with you, and that's why we came to work together for information sharing.
It should be known to everyone that fake news spread very fast like wildfires. We all know wildfires can be destructive. They can clear the flora and fauna.
In the upcoming polls, IEBC has given the media the green light for live coverage of the exercise, including the transmission of results, but the commission says impartiality is key.
And that's a decision we made as a commission. Whether anybody likes it or not, that is their problem. But we're going forward. As a country, we must be transparent.
The political parties have also embarked on adopting some opinion pollsters in order to advance their own agenda. While this is debatable, the Commission expects both the media and opinion pollsters to be free, fair, and independent.
But to be very sincere, opinion polls can actually become a hot potato, especially in this country, and knowing which way results normally end. You can have the results of an opinion poll today, the elections come out, and you ask yourself that, did you do your research well? Did you interrogate the polls well?
Opinion poll firms, while committing to adhere to the professional tenets, urge the media to interrogate opinion polls and not just concentrate on who is leading in the polls.
99.9% is this poll reliable? Who was interviewed? Not if you had more input into the conduct of these polls, or at least engaging us to know more about how they're done, so that we could explain why certain Kenyans support or have one view.
Sharing experiences on their elections management, participants from South Africa, Zambia, and Ghana emphasized on the need to safeguard misinformation and malinformation as the country gears towards the polls.
One of the other issues we found as challenging when it relates to the media was in results management. It was an advantage in transparency, but it was a disadvantage when people now began to manipulate through their parallel voter tabulation to create falsehoods.
Kamchemenza for Sunday Express.
Let's stay with the elections. Azimio One Kenya coalition presidential candidate Raila Odinga has called on the electorate to support his presidential bid, promising to revamp the economy and transform the lives of Kenyans. Speaking in Bomet and Kericho counties Sunday, Odinga said the Azimio team has an elaborate plan to industrialize Kenya and create more jobs for the youth. This comes as a two-day tour of his Kakamega County. Obviously, the visit of the Kakamega County ended after 2 days.
Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party presidential candidate Raila Odinga took his campaigns to Kericho and Bomet to sell his agenda to the electorate. Odinga promising to revive collapsed industries that would create jobs for youth, embrace a value addition to agricultural produce, and support women and bodaboda operators with soft loans.
Viwanda vingine tutaanzisha yale ambayo itaweza kutengeneza bidhaa zingine, na hizo viwanda zitatoa ajira mingi sana kwa vijana wetu. Tumeelewana? We want to build an industrialized Kenya.
Raila said that the Azimio government, if elected, will prioritize policies meant to curb the corruption vice in the country.
Tupigane na wale maadui wetu makubwa wanne. Wangapi? Wangapi? Ugonjwa, ujinga, umaskini na ufisadi.
While addressing the current economic crisis that has seen the cost of living rise exponentially, the ODM party leader said the Azimio team has an elaborate plan to reduce the high prices of food.
Wale watu Wakenya wengine ambaye ni maskini, ambaye hawana mapato yoyote, wale ambaye hawana mapato yoyote tutawasaidia. Sawa. Kwa upande ile ya ugonjwa, mleta mpango mpya inaitwa Baba Care.
Tuchague watu wale wataaminika kuchunga mali ya Wakenya. Na nikisema hivyo ni kutoka MCA kwenda governor, MP na kwenda kwa president.
Leaders allied to Azimio Party defending its track record and calling on electors to vote for Odinga come August polls.
Ukienda Pwani, ngome ya baba. Ukambani, ngome ya baba. Northeastern, ukienda Western, Nairobi, Nyanza, hata Mlima Kenya sasa ni ngome ya baba. Wakati umepata cheti cha jitihada kutoka kwa serikali ya Raila Odinga, hicho cheti ukikishika mkononi namna hii na usikie kuna kandarasi ya serikali ya kazi yoyote ambayo unaijua, kazi yoyote ambayo unaiweza, na uko na hicho cheti, serikali ya Raila Odinga itakupatia wewe kandarasi, kijana, my friends.
Mimi naomba watu ya Kericho, watu ya Bomet, watu ya Wasingishu, musidanganywe, mubaki nje. Tafadhali mupande hii train, tuende pamoja Kanani.
And Deputy President William Ruto says he has confidence that the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission will deliver free and credible polls in the next 29 days. Ruto, who was campaigning in Turkana, defended the electoral body from reports of unpreparedness by a section of politicians. Deputy President William Ruto led the Kenya Kwanza campaigns in Turkana County for a second day running. While in Turkana, Ruto said he had confidence that the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission was ready to deliver a credible poll.
Kama munasema hamuna imani na IEBC, kama munasema hamutaki kuungana na uchaguzi, ama hamutaki kushiriki uchaguzi bila ya manual register, tafadhali munaweza kujiondoa. Sisi wengine tutaendelea tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8 kuchaguana.
Ruto promised that his team would conduct peaceful campaigns and ensure there is peace and tranquility during the elections.
I want to assure the people of Kenya that we will have peaceful, democratic elections on 9th of August. We have confidence in institutions of governance. It is our responsibility to support.
To address the insecurity problem in the north of Kenya, Ruto promised to set up a military camp in Turkana if he is elected president.
Tumesema ili tuwe na usalama wa kutosha katika Turkana County, tunakuja kujenga garrison ya jeshi hapa Lodwar. Tunajenga garrison ya jeshi kule Kibish. Tunaenda kujenga garrison ya jeshi ingine kule Lokichogio. Tuhakikishe ya kwamba mambo ya wizi ya ng'ombe imekoma.
Hiyo itakuwa ni kura ya kuteremsha bei ya mafuta. Itakuwa kura ya kuteremsha bei ya maisha yetu. Na itakuwa kura ya kuleta amani hapa Turkana once and for all.
Na sisi tukiwa viongozi wa Turkana, tunasema wakati huu baka Turkana ionje matunda kamili ya serikali. Na hiyo matunda itakuja kwa sababu mimi niko ofisi ya William Ruto, nitahakikisha haki yetu imetufikishia hapa.
In the meantime, ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi has called on the IEBC to ignore demands by the 13 presidential hopefuls who were not cleared during the IEBC clearance exercise. The 13 hopefuls want the polls delayed by 2 months in what Mudavadi says is an attempt to short-circuit democracy.
So we want you to come in large numbers, tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8,
Imebaki tu 30 days. Na sisi tunasema kwamba uamuzi uwe pale. Wale ambao wamegusia mambo ya kususia uchaguzi tusirudi huko.
Agano Party presidential candidate David Mwaure Wahiga is alleging discrimination in the provision of security to presidential candidates. Mwaure has subsequently urged the Ministry of Interior to provide security to all presidential candidates without any preferential treatment.
The Agano Party presidential candidate was at Life Church International in Limuru, Kiambu County, where he attended its service. Here, Mwaure alleged of discrimination on security provision of some presidential candidates are in the top seat. The Agano Party presidential candidate is now asking the Ministry of Interior to provide him with adequate security as he continues intensifying his campaigns ahead of the August showdown.
Cheska sijaongezwa askari, si hata mafuta ingine wanalipio. Na vile nasema si ati nataka pesa za Mkenya za kodi situmiwe, lakini naelewa kuna vote na budget imepitishwa. Na nikiangalia sana mtu anakanyagia, anakulia, labda hata anampea mwingine yule anataka pigia kura.
In Meru, the Catholic bishop have called for a peaceful transition after the general election. In a message read by Meru Bishop Salesius Mugambi, the clergy at the same time call on the civil servants to be impartial and adhere to public service code of conduct and ethics even after regime change.
We too have a personal responsibility to contribute to peace and stability and respect of the law in this country. Keeping law and order is not the duty reserved only to the police, national government, administration, and the courts.
And Homa Bay gubernatorial candidate Dr. Evans Kidero has slammed the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission for including him in the list of shame. EACC forwarded 241 names of political hopefuls to IBC, claiming they were not fit to hold an elective post due to integrity issues.
Kesi zangu ni za siasa na unaona vile vimeendelea, hazijasonga vile vingesonga, lakini iko kwa kotini. Ni maneno hatuwezi kuzungumzia sasa. Sasa tuko na uchaguzi, watu wa Homa Bay wanataka wachague governor ambaye atawafanyia kazi. I mean, the gross incompetence that has been existing the last 10 years, that's what we'll get rid of and implement our 8-point agenda. Health, water, education, food security, attraction of investors, roads, transport, water transport.
Frederick Muki for Sunday Express.
Now let's deal with politics. And Chief Qadi Ahmed Muhda and a section of leaders from the Muslim faithful joined Muslim faithful across the country and the world in marking the al-Adha celebration prayers at the Tononoka grounds in Mombasa. The leaders called for tolerance, peace and unity ahead of the August polls. A section of Muslims, however, marked the day on Saturday.
Eid al-Adha celebrations has continued to be marked across the globe, with the Chief Qadi Ahmed Muhda joining the Muslim faithful for prayers at the Tononoka grounds in Mombasa this morning. The celebrations, which include slaughtering of animals such as goats, sheep and camel, encourages sharing of the sacrifice made. Muslims have been urged to be their brothers' keepers and share with the less fortunate in the society as they mark the important celebration, which runs for 3 days.
Kwa hivyo sisi sote bila ya kuleta ubaguzi wa aina yoyote, tunataka tusherekee siku kama hii kwa pamoja na kwa undugu na amani. Na watu wanachinja leo tarehe 10, 11, 12 mpaka tarehe 13.
Mombasa leaders led by ODM Mombasa gubernatorial candidate Abdul Swamad Sharif, who also joined in the morning Eid prayers to mark the celebrations, called for tolerance and peace ahead of the August polls.
Wana Mombasa tutashikana, leo tumesherekea Eid, tutakuwa na siku nyingine kusherekea sherehe nyingine ambazo kwamba ni za dini tofauti tofauti, na watu wataungana hivi hivi na sura za tabasamu hivi hivi. Hii ndio Mombasa, watu wote bila ya kuanza kujali rangi, dini wala kabila.
Sasa huu ni wakati wa uchaguzi,
na hao wote wanaosimama ndugu zetu. Sisi tuwaomba uchaguzi wa usalama, tuwaomba kila mtu aweke amani. Wakati huu ni wakati muhimu sana, na tunaomba security forces waweke usalama.
Ni muhimu Waislamu tuungane pamoja na vile vile tuweze kuweka amani wakati huu wa uchaguzi ambao unakuja.
Meanwhile, former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko joined the mentally sick persons at the Mombasa Women Hospital and Rehabilitation Center in Miritini area for a meal to mark the day. He called on leaders to engage themselves in projects that will assist and bring change in the community, such as the Rehabilitation Center, which is now the home of the renowned boxer Conjestina Achieng.
Na ningependa wafadhili wengi tujitokeze tumuunge mkono kwa hii kazi. Tayari mimi nimeshajitolea, nitachukua mradi ya kuongeza dormitory moja hapa, na hiyo kazi itaanza haraka iwezekanavyo.
Amina Abdallah, who owns the facility, also called on well-wishers to assist her as she continues to rescue the mentally challenged people from the streets of Mombasa to treat them in the facility for free.
Kwa sababu mpaka dakika hii mimi sina sponsor. Nategemea marafiki, familia na well-wishers. Kwa hivyo kwangu ni changamoto kubwa sana.
For Sunday Express from Mombasa County, I am Anboro.
Of course, a report by Anboro takes us to our very first break on Sunday Express, but don't go too far. When you come back, we have more news lined up for you, including sports and that very important interview on breastfeeding. We talk to Raila Odinga, who is the head of nutrition and dietetics services from the Ministry of Health.
We shall legalize weed.
Professor George Luchiri Wajakoya of the Roots Party.
Semeni Babakea. Babakea.
Raila Amolo Odinga of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Party.
Unajua mimi sina pesa ya serikali ama ya kashfa.
David Mwaure Wahiga of the Agano Party. And
hakuna kura ya hasla mtaiba.
William Samoei Ruto of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Presidential Debate 2022. Do not adjust your sets.
I'd like to officially welcome you to the coolest club in the 254. In other words, this is the best way.
Welcome back. You're watching Sunday Express. Let's focus on the COVID-19 situation in the country. And 4 people have succumbed to COVID-19 in the last 24 hours, with the country's COVID-19 positivity rate dropping to 5.4% from Saturday's 6.6%. This follows the confirmation of 88 new cases screened from a sample size of 1,615 in the last 24 hours. The total confirmed positive cases now stand at 335,861. According to the latest statistics from the Ministry of Health, the cumulative fatalities now stand at 5,667. As of 9th of July, a total of 18,982,295 vaccines have been administered across the country. Data from the Johns Hopkins University Coronavirus Resource Center shows that over 555 million COVID-19 infections have been confirmed globally, with more than 6.3 million deaths being reported since the beginning of the pandemic. And now, a distressed family from Wangige village in Kabete constituency, Kiambu County, is desperately seeking help to offset a hospital bill and facilitate the release of their daughter detained at Kijabe Hospital. The girl's mother, Caroline Washara Njoroge, says the family is grappling with a myriad of health tragedies, with both her husband and daughter suffering kidney failure.
A cry for help,
A triple tragedy for this family that resides in Wangige, Kiambu County. Duo kidney failure and joblessness.
Familia yake ambayo iko Maimahiu wakakaa kama wametutenga. Wakaona kama sisi ni watu wako na shida na mambo mengi.
In 2019, when COVID-19 hit the country, the family was hit by yet another tragedy when their eldest daughter, Lilian Wamboi Njoroge, was diagnosed with a similar condition. The family took her through treatment in various hospitals, among them Kikuyu Mission Hospital and Kijabe Hospital, where she is still detained because of accrued bills from her long stay.
Na hatuwezi kumiti hiyo pesa ya kulipa hiyo figo. Atusaidie tu hawa watoto wangu wasome. Ni anipe kazi. Na nini tafanya? Anisaidie tu na hii familia yangu. Tupate mahali pa kuishi, tule hawa watoto wangu. Na hii familia yangu mimi tutashikilia tu. Mzee akipata nafasi kidogo atafanya tu, juu ako na degree na anaweza fanya. Na mimi naweza fanya kazi.
Due to financial constraints, her youngest child, who is a Form 3 student at Kiambogo High School, has been sent home for over 170,000 shillings school fees arrears.
I never imagined in my life I would reach such a stage. Nadio, I have no words to say how I feel, because I feel so bad, but I have hope in the Lord that he can change things at any juncture.
Our sitting governor today, Governor Nyoro, please preach for us, intercede for us in PCA Kikuyu, where we have a bill of 365, and Kijabe Hospital, so that my daughter may come home.
To support the family, well-wishers can channel their support to M-Pesa pay bill number 8045519 or Caroline Stanbic Bank account number 010003006772. Wamboi reporting for Sunday Express.
Sad story there, and any kind of help extended to the family would be a welcome move. More than 4 million people are facing hunger and starvation in Kenya due to drought in Baringo County. The situation is becoming dire, with locals who rely on their livestock having no pasture to feed their animals. Leaders from Baringo County attribute the situation to failed rains. Tonight, we highlight the plight of a section of locals in Tiati, Baringo County.
The drought situation in Tiati is dire. This cow had been taken to this water point, which is drying up due to prolonged dry season. It is suffering hunger and exhaustion owing to lack of food. This goat gave up life while in search of water. Women are forced to walk for long distance to secure at least a glass of water for their children back at home. Regina Sorit, a resident in Tiati, says the drought situation has pushed many locals to eat wild fruits for survival.
Watu wako na njaa, walijaribu mashamba kidogo kidogo na hiyo imekauka yote. Na saa hii mambo ya wanyama wamekufa. So mkiona watu penye wamekuja hivi ni sababu uko kote iko na njaa. Kwa hivyo ningependa kuomba kwamba serikali yetu ya kaunti waweze kutuangalilia mambo ya maji na pia chakula.
Peter Ngeleio says thousands of locals in Tiati go without food and water for close to a week.
Kuna dalili na kuna hatari ya watu kupoteza maisha katika Tiati, haswa sehemu za ndani.
Tiati, Baringo North, Mogotio and Baringo South are some of the most affected areas in Baringo County.
Kumekuwa kwa muda mrefu hakuja kuwa na mvua. Hivyo basi kumekuwa na shida ya ukosefu wa chakula na watu, hata mimea na mifuko iko kwa hali mbaya.
Labour Cabinet Secretary Simon Chelugui says that the government is working to ensure areas affected by drought receive relief food through a partnership with the Ministry of Special Programs. Chelugui further said the Ministry of Labour is initiating offtake programs for livestock to cushion farmers from losses during this dry season.
Tutajaribu kufanya assessment of the most needy areas kwa county governor ili tuweze kuwafikishia chakula. Najua kuna kidogo kidogo inapeanwa lakini haitoshi sababu ukame umezidi.
According to a report by the National Drought Management Authority, the number of people facing hunger and starvation in Kenya stood at 4.1 million in June from 3.5 million people in May. Irene Mchuma, Odim, Sunday Express.
Security matters now. Police in Ruiru and Juja sub-counties in Kiambu County have arrested 5 suspects believed to be part of a dreaded criminal gang that has been terrorizing residents in the last 2 weeks. According to Kiambu County Police Commander Mushangi Kioi, firearms including 2 AK-47 rifles and 2 pistols were recovered from the gang.
Amid increase in cases of criminal gangs terrorizing residents in various parts of the country, police in Juja Kiambu County have arrested 5 suspects believed to be behind Populous KK Brothers gang anguishing Kiambu residents.
Hiyo watu wamekuwa kipia watu na wengine kati yao iko wale maripist. Wote wako ndani. Tumenasa 5 ambao tuko nao hapa saa hii. Hii ni aina ya toy pistol.
According to Kiambu County Police Commander Mushangi Kioi, police recovered firearms including 2 AK-47 rifles and 2 pistols used by the gang to instill fear in the residents.
Kudhibitisha kwamba hii bunduki ni yetu ambaye ndio walipia wakati waliua officer wetu kule, hata wale walikuwa na chunga banki mwaka uliopita. Kwa hivyo sasa tulipotea bunduki 2 na hii ni moja ambaye recover.
The gang dubbed as KK Brothers is reported to have been operating at Mungetho, Juja Farm, Mwalimu Farm, Ruiru Town, Mwea, Ngoingwa and Masto areas. According to the police, 3 more members of the deadly gang who terrorized residents while adorning fake police uniform have been arrested while transporting stolen valuables in West Pokot.
Iko wengine 3 wako West Pokot, tunaenda kuwachukua, na pia iko wale wengine ambao tunjapata ambao wako nje, wako wote ni 4. So tumefanya jitihada sote na tunataka kumhakikishia kwamba either leo ama kesho utakuwa tumwanasa wote. So tunawaambia hata waende wapi, wakiingia kwa Kware tunawatoa huko. Wakiingia kwa mto, sababu hapa tuko na hii mto kama kina Mugudhuko na zile zingine huko, tutakimbia mpaka huko tuhakikishe tumevaa nini, tumwanasa.
Kioi at the same time lauded boda operators in the county for going out of their way to help police during operations.
And now, imagine staying for 3 days without electricity in your house, thinking that Kenya power systems are down, only to realize that you had exhausted your units yet had no way of establishing this. This is what Paul Mugambi, a visually impaired innovator, went through, and it triggered an idea: development of a prepaid electricity meter for the visually impaired. Teresa Mutai brings us this report.
An inclusive future being built by genius minds. Today, I have a sit down with Paul Mugambi, who narrates to us the innovation of smart power solution. Paul Mugambi spent 3 days holed up in his house without electricity at the height of COVID-19 pandemic lockdown. He thought the outage was due to normal interruptions by Kenya Power. Unbeknownst to him, his units were out. His realization that he didn't have electrical supply simply because he couldn't be informed that he was out of tokens fueled an idea.
It made me to innovate an idea called K-Macho, whereby it's a platform whereby persons who are blind like me and persons without disabilities can be able to access utility through the solution which we have found out.
He came up with an idea to have a talking smart electricity token meter that would take voice commands and purchase units. The voice automated smart meter alerts the user when tokens are about to run out. The innovation that leverages on technology such as Google Talkback and Siri is dubbed Kwamacho, also known as K-Macho. Kwamacho uses spoken words, vibrations, and other audible feedback to allow the user to know what is happening on the smart meter, allowing the user to better interact with the device. The service is pre-installed on smart meter devices to enhance accessibility.
You use your mouth to command to request anything you want, like to ask it, K-Macho, buy for me 32 units of power. Then it will give you the response, and then you're able to do your transaction there immediately without you doing anything, just by word of mouth.
Paul Mugambi then brought on board 3 technical support members to develop the first smart meter and keep tweaking it until they perfected the invention. His innovation won the Inclusion Awards in 2018 in Australia, where he was recognized for the innovation that support people with disabilities.
I participated in this digital space innovation competition, and my idea was won the best in terms of social inclusion during that activity, and through that is when now we started making the prototype.
Cabinet Secretary for Energy and Petroleum Sector Dr. Monica Juma uploaded K-Macho invention during a KPLC inaugural Manufacturers Technology and Innovation Expo.
I really want, as the chair has indicated, to acknowledge all the exhibitors and to point out to some of the ones that I have seen, to Numero IoT, to K-Macho, which I think are important innovations, examples of innovations that are aligning to our needs and our context and our aspirations as a country.
If energy sector becomes seamless with the internet services and offline services, with the technology the way it is going, I know it will be a great game changer in terms of development consciousness.
He is now calling out to investors in the public and private sectors to finance the project and achieve a complete implementation of the K-Macho innovation. He says the potential of the innovation in the energy sector is yet to be fully exploited, saying it could open up many jobs.
Indeed, a visionary man who hopes with his innovation, the world will be transformed to create a better future.
Reporting for Sunday Express, I am Teresa Mutai.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Our arts and entertainment industry has evolved over the years.
It is at such times that our destinies are written. Will we rise up in courage or die in cowardice?
Who are the movers and shakers in film and theatre? Get trendy as we review locally produced films and stage drama every Wednesday at 9 p.m. on Cinemas and Theatre.
Brought to you by the Kenya Film Commission. Film Kenya, Capture Africa.
Let's do sports now, and 5 times Safari Rally winner Carl Tundo and Maxine Home emerged winners of the champions and women's categories respectively as the curtains came down on the inaugural Rally Cross Championship held at the newly launched racing track in Machakos. The event attracted 4 teams as the focus now shifts to next weekend's 4x4 autocross in Nanyuki.
Tundo led the champions category ahead of Eric Bengi and Baldev Chaga, who finished in second and third positions respectively, as Alistair Caverna, who won the veterans category ahead of Ron Oakley, and John Gugi was forced out of the race following mechanical gremlins.
It's been fantastic. For the first event, it's worked out well. I think all the drivers are super happy with what's been going on, and it's for the first event, for the first ever rallycross in Kenya, I think it's a good start.
Hamza Anwar won the juniors category ahead of Jeremy Wahome and Ravia Thieni, who finished in second and third positions respectively.
Rallycross is the way forward in motorsport, certainly from aspect of money and budget. And no, it's been incredible. We have the street races, the TT tarmac races. They've all come together, and we have the autocross guys, the rally people. They've all come together as a family and as a whole big motorsport family, and it's been fantastic.
Maxim Wahome, who won the WRC 3 class at the WRC Safari Rally Kenya, topped the ladies category ahead of Natasha Tundo and Johannes Beat respectively.
I've actually going to go back and do a lot of work on myself for this.
This is more exciting to watch because unlike a rally where you go off 2-minute intervals and then everyone gets spread out, this you have 4 cars on the grid racing together. It's like real racing.
Kenya Rally Team KRT, which was sponsored by KBC, encountered mechanical challenges and dropped from the race.
Hatujakufa moyo, tunaendelea na bado Disemba bado tunarudi hapa kupambana na tutashiriki vilivyo na tutaweza kumaliza.
The 2-day event has come to an end today, and now the shift focuses on the 4x4 autocross rally, which will be held in Nanyuki next weekend. For Sunday Express, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
And Kenya Simbas and Namibia will fight for the African ticket to the 2023 Rugby World Cup on tonight after both sides reached the Rugby Africa Cup final on Wednesday. The Simbas faced an Algerian squad composed of France-based players in Wednesday's semi-final. The Algerian squad used their superior power in the park to challenge the Simbas, who won 36-33 to make it to the final. Simbas coach Paul Odera treasured the result and believes his Chargers will be up to the task in the final, scheduled to kick off at 10 p.m. local time. Namibia beat Zimbabwe's Sables 34-19 in the semi-finals. Zimbabwe and Algeria will contest that place playoff. Both Kenya and Namibia met in 2018, fighting for a place at the 2019 Rugby World Cup, with Namibia emerging 53-28 winners at home. Whoever emerges as Rugby Africa Cup 2022 champions on Sunday will take their place in Pool A at Rugby World Cup as Africa representatives alongside France, New Zealand, Italy and Uruguay. The runners-up will head into the final qualification tournament. The first contingent of the national Taekwondo team left the country today ahead of the Africa Taekwondo Championship scheduled for Kigali, Rwanda from 12th to 18th of July. The second group of players and officials is expected to leave for the champions next Wednesday.
The first contingent, consisting 6 players and 3 officials, left Sunday ahead of the games, which begin on Tuesday, while the second group, composed of 10 players and 5 officials, is expected to link up with the rest on Wednesday.
National Olympic Committee of Kenya imeweza tufadhili na Kenya shillings 250,000. And then pia tumepata a private sponsor ambaye angependa kutajwa, ambaye pia ametusaidia na fedha. Hizo fedha ambazo zimeweza kutuwezesha kupeleka kikosi angalau nusu ile tulikuwa tunatarajia.
The Kenyan team will be hoping to surpass their performance in the last edition of the Games held in 2021 in Senegal, where they clinched 3 bronze medals. Mary Murio and Faith Ogalo, who are bronze winners, expressed their optimism in the Games.
Tarajio yangu mwaka uliopita nilipata bronze na natarajia kupata gold this time.
Kwangu nasema itanisaidia kuongeza ranking yangu, manake na aim kwenda Grand Prix, hiyo ndo ndoto yangu kubwa. So nikiperform vizuri kupata medali ya juu zaidi inakupa alama nyingi na inakuongezea ranking, so itanisaidia kwenye ranking yangu.
Kenya will be represented by a total of 16 players in the continental showpiece, which will also be used by exponents to earn Olympic qualification points.
Kenya's Helen Wawera won a gold medal at the ongoing World Powerlifting Championship in Atlanta, USA. Gabriel Magu also clinched silver in the men's 71 kg category. Elsewhere, Impala veterans are the winners of the Kenya Hockey Masters Series after beating Nakuru 2-1 by a penalty shootouts in an entertaining final played Sunday at City Park Hockey Stadium in Nairobi.
The two teams tied 1-1 in regular time, thus forcing the match to be decided by sport kicks. Linet Lucinda scored for Impala, while Nakuru got their goal via Zach Aura. Impala reigned supreme in the penalty kicks, registering a 2-1 win to lift the Nairobi leg of the series.
It was very important for us. We're all wazes. We're all over 40 years, trying to give back to hockey, trying to show our skills, what we used to do 20, 30 years ago for some of us. We feel real good and we're looking forward to the rest of the series.
Very happy to be at the finals. At the same time, acting as mentors and hope for those people who are still upcoming youth and energetic generation, that there is life after 40.
So what do you think your team has done that has made you this?
Working together solid, not giving up.
En route to the finals, Impala saw off Wazalendo 3-0, while Nakuru beat Blue Ocean 4-1.
Able to bring back a lot of our players that had retired for us to take part. And yes, it's been a wonderful weekend, and I think memories have come back. And we're ready for the series, so we're going to go for it. And I know we need a lot of work to do, but we'll get there. Yeah.
How do you feel having been the first runners-up in this series?
No, it's great. It's great. We were not even expecting to get this far, so I think it's a great thing, and we hope we're able to take part in the rest.
The tournament attracted 8 teams composed of players aged 40 and above. The second series of the championship is set to be held in Mombasa at a date to be set in due course.
Portugal fought back from 2 goals down to clinch a 2-2 draw against Switzerland in the Euro 2022 Group C opener, defending champions Netherlands and the world's second-ranked side. Sweden could not be separated as the two sides played out an entertaining draw of 1-1 in the Euro 2022 Group C opener in England.
We shall legalize weed.
Professor George Luchiri Wajakoya of the Roots Party. Raila Amolo Odinga of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Party.
Unajua mimi sina pesa ya serikali ama ya kashfa.
David Mwaure Wahiga of the Agano Party. And
hakuna kura ya hasla mtaiba.
William Samoei Ruto of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Presidential Debate 2022. Do not adjust your sets.
On the Family Sunday segment tonight, we talk about breastfeeding. And I'm in studio with Raila Odinga, who is the Deputy Head, the Division of Nutrition and Dietetics at the Ministry of Health. Raila, karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
You know, speaking about the breastfeeding week, in most cases in Kenya is in August. Probably you can start by telling us why it had to come in July this time.
Yeah, it was a ministry decision.
Okay.
we felt because that week, it's usually celebrated the first week of August globally. And we felt that week is a very busy week for Kenya. So we might be fighting for space with so many people, especially due to the electioneering period. And that week precedes the election week, or election day. So we moved it by a month because the whole point is to celebrate breastfeeding. So that is how we decided to have it the first week of July. Yes.
What was the theme of this year and why is it important?
The theme of this year is Step Up for Breastfeeding, Educate and Support. So it goes along a theme called the Warm Chain for Breastfeeding. And the Warm Chain for Breastfeeding is ensuring that different actors or different stakeholders play their role without breaking the chain, as you know how a chain looks like. So we have different actors who have roles either to support or to promote breastfeeding, and therefore they need to play their roles. So that is the push that we have this particular year to ensure that every stakeholder understands their role and takes up their role, so to educate and support for breastfeeding. Yeah, so if I explain a bit, we have different players. In the immediate is the receiving of the child to the world. You see, like the child is received by a healthcare provider who now initiates the baby to breastfeeding. And then the other healthcare workers also support the mother to continue breastfeeding. And at home we have the father who is also supporting the mother and also is a parent to the child. And therefore that environment for breastfeeding is supported. We also have different players like employers, and their role is to ensure when this mother goes back to work, first they get their maternity leave so that they can have time to breastfeed the child, but also when they get back to work, for example, if it's before the 6 months period when the child is supposed to be exclusively breastfeeding, then this employer is able to support the mother to ensure that exclusive breastfeeding continues. We have other players like you, the media, who also plays a big role in educating, advocating for breastfeeding, like what you're doing today. Then we have the youth, of course. The youth are also in the intermediary, either themselves, they are parents, they are mothers, and they can push their peers in innovative ways. You know, we and the youth are a bit different, and there are innovative ways that the youth can support breastfeeding. The community itself, because the mother is in the community, the community has a role. Let me give an example, like the what are they called? The religious leaders. They are part of the community. They can promote breastfeeding. So we have very different and unique players who can either take a role of supporting breastfeeding or educating about breastfeeding. So each one of them, we are saying, take up your role or step up for breastfeeding, educate and support, so that the chain is not broken and this mother is cushioned, and therefore the baby is able to get this life-saving commodity, which is the breast milk.
There are several facts that came up. Obviously, like 61% of children enjoying exclusive breastfeeding. But before we even talk about those facts, kindly elucidate for the viewer to understand, what is exclusive breastfeeding?
Yeah, exclusive breastfeeding is when a baby is given only breast milk, either by taking from the mother directly on the breast or through any other means, but the baby is consuming only breast milk with no other food or drink, including water, for the first 6 months of life. That is the definition of exclusive breastfeeding. The only exception is any medication that is given by a doctor when the child falls sick. Any other thing is not supposed to enter that baby's mouth until the 6 months. So that is what is exclusive breastfeeding.
61% of children now in the Republic of Kenya are enjoying exclusive breastfeeding. I don't know whether when you look at facts in the years before, whether that was where the number stood or this is an improvement. And if it is, what would you attribute it to?
Yeah, I'll start by saying where the statistics come from. We have what we call the Kenya Demographic Health Survey, where we survey the country. And right now the survey is going on. So that is statistic of 61 is for 2014. And that is what we stand with, that at that time, 61% of children were being exclusively breastfed. And that means that these children are benefiting from the optimal benefit of breast milk to the child, including protection from illnesses. That is one of the optimal roles of breastfeeding, growth and development, and also protection from, of course, from illnesses like diarrhea and exposing them to death because of those illnesses, and also unique benefits like prevention of ensuring the baby is their IQ level is optimum. So studies have shown that children who have been exclusively breastfed, their performance in IQ tests are higher than children who are not exclusively breastfed. And we have these benefits as evidence from scientific follow-up, including benefits up to later stages in life, like children who are exclusively breastfed have reduced risk of cancer, reduced risks of diabetes, and reduced risks of being overweight and obesity. Obesity is a risk factor for non-communicable diseases like diabetes and hypertension. So this time when the child is being exclusively breastfed, there are benefits that follow through the child up to their adulthood, including their outcome in terms of economic development for the country, their achievement in school because of the better IQ. So these are some of the things that we say. These 61% of children are bound to benefit along their lifetime, immediately during the time when they are being exclusively breastfed, but long-term benefits like what I have mentioned. Yeah, so the 39%, it means that there's some mix-up. Either this child is being given fluids like water, or so the child is still being breastfed, but is being given other food commodities like fluids, like drinks, like food, semi-solid or solid food. Then that means you have broken the cycle of exclusive breastfeeding. So it doesn't mean that that child is not being breastfed, but it's not exclusive breastfeeding. Yeah.
Talk about, and I think as I was sharing this topic with some of my colleagues in the newsroom, some of them would actually raise the aspect of those lactating mothers who do not either produce enough milk for the baby or simply just can't. What options do they have from where you sit?
Yeah, what we say about breastfeeding, it's a natural instinct. It is the way God made any creature, that actually the first source of nourishment is breast milk, including animals. So it's very natural and very possible for every mother to breastfeed. So yes, there are some times when the mother is not getting enough milk. It's not that the mother does not have, it is more of these issues we are calling supporting. The mother does not know how to do it. So that is where we come in with this component of educating and supporting. So sometimes when we notice the mother comes into the health facility, or we visit them at home and they say they feel like they don't have enough milk, then we now demonstrate to them, how do you put the baby to the breast so that milk comes out? Because there's a lot of connection.
There's a way you can.
There's a way you can trigger. Even a mother who, for example, I'm a mother and I die and I have a child, another mother can breastfeed for me, like after just stimulating the breast to produce milk. So these are the things we call support, that the mother is supposed to be supported after we do a lot of education, and therefore we put the mother to the breast. We show them how to do it, and most of them, even those who had stopped breastfeeding because they felt they didn't have, we call it relactation, we managed to take them back to continue breastfeeding. So every mother, that is the message, every mother can breastfeed and should breastfeed. So it's only in very unique circumstances when maybe the baby's mother has died, that's when we say it is not possible maybe for that circumstance, but any mother can breastfeed.
What would you say to those who settle for milk formula, when they realize they have a problem in terms of producing milk for the baby?
Yeah, and that's now why the theme of this year is very critical, because it seems like that chain was broken at some point, because every healthcare worker is trained to support the mother to breastfeed.
Okay.
We are trained to support the mother to breastfeed, and the mother is supposed to go into a community that is trained to receive her, to support her to breastfeed. So you find that if the mother is not exposed enough to this information, then there's that risk of her feeling either she doesn't have enough milk and therefore quickly opts, because the mother cares for the child, and quickly opts to another option of giving the child nourishment. So those instances exist, but we are actually out here to say that actually these children are losing out from the benefits I have actually alluded to, because the alternative, for example, milk from the cow, is not built to be for the infant. You see, this child who is just getting out of the world, the milk from cows is not really suitable for them because of the level of the type of protein that it has, and the type of oil or fats that it has. It makes it quite very hard for the baby to digest, and therefore it now puts the baby at quite some unique risks that were unnecessary. And the other problem is that these ones don't have immunity. Remember, when the child is born, they're not born with immunity. Either their immunity has not grown to the optimum, or they don't have they have minimal immunity. So the breast milk is the one that has immunity, builds the immunity of the child. So if you deny breast milk to the child, you're actually exposing them to infections, because now if any infection comes from the outside world to the baby, then the baby has easy risk of losing life or just getting into illnesses that were unnecessary. You see, like you and me, our immunity has been built because we are past the age of 5 years. But this child who has just been born, the immunity is very low. And that is how it is built from the breast milk of the mother. So that is why we say that let this mother be supported, let this mother be given the correct information to choose to breastfeed. Let there be no undue influence, because that is how the mother was created, to give nourishment to the child in this initial stage of the child's life. And we call this stage the window of opportunity. We call it 1,000 days. That is, since the child was conceived up to 2 years of age. That is the time when you can give the maximum impact of a child that will impact the rest of their life. So one of the first is the first 6 months of life, exclusive breastfeeding, including play and stimulation. So that is how the father comes in with the support. The father can play with the child and therefore build the brain of the child. And breast milk again adds to this and builds the brain of the child. So these players make the baby be in an environment where the window of opportunity is taken advantage of and the baby is getting maximum support.
All right, I'm under pressure to wind up, but I have a quick one.
Yes.
There is a law that requires employers now to designate a particular point where lactating mothers can actually go with their children. As the Ministry of Health, what is the uptake rate or conformity when you look at it very quickly?
Yeah, we are, the law is about the workplace support for breastfeeding, Article 71 and Article 72 of the Kenyan Constitution. And this we expect all employers. It has several points, including making sure the mother gets the leave time that they need to have. The fathers get leave so that they can be able to support the baby. So as government, of course, as we comply 100%, so as government employees, we are giving that support to the mother, including flexi hours. So we have had, because of a lot of support, communication with employees and corporates, we have had very good embracing of the law. Many employees are giving optimum time, flexi hours. The mother can go back and come. Some are building workplace support, the lactation stations for mothers, where babies can come in. We have organizations like that. The mother can work with the baby around. And the uptake is quite good. So we are happy so far, and we're encouraging other employers also to do the same for the working mothers.
All right.
Yes.
Raila Odinga, it's been a pleasure.
Yes.
Speaking to you. And obviously, we hope we can get you again. Unfortunately, by the time August comes, we'll be getting to the elections.
Yes.
But we can maximize on this week and spend a lot of information, obviously, to the lactating mothers and every stakeholder when it comes to issues of breastfeeding. Thank you very much for gracing us with your presence.
Thank you very much. It was my
tonight.
pleasure.
This is how we end Sunday Express. Great thanks to our sign language interpreter and the team that has been in charge of a bulletin. My name is John Jacob Kioria. Have yourself a fantastic week ahead.
Kupata kumpenda mtu kama sikiza tune kwenye simu yako, bonyeza *811 *398#.
Mapenzi si kumpenda mtu kwa kuwa amekamilika, kwani nawe pia una mapungufu yako. Kwa hivyo mapenzi ni kumpenda mtu na mapungufu yake.
Kupata kumpenda mtu, bonyeza *811 *398#. *811 *398#.
I'd like to officially welcome you to the coolest club in the 254. In other words, this is the best.
Hello, good people. Today's Save a Life is in Nairobi County. Please call al-Adha. That is in Embakasi constituency. Na tumekuja kutembelea